Starting with the Elmira Pioneers starting lineup. Number
Hello, folks, and thanks for joining us here at Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here on NewarkPilots.tv, and an interesting start here to this one, as it'll be game one of what will be two here in a doubleheader here tonight at Colburn Park. The second game set to start at 7:05 after the conclusion of this one, and a strange start in the sense that we will pick this one up where we left off before a rain delay on the third day of the season here for the Pilots and the Pioneers, as Mother Nature took us into a rain delay that ended up postponing this one. It's a 5-0 Pioneers lead here in the top of the first. There's two gone, and the bases are loaded for Elmira, as Ryan Wynn will be on the mound for the Pilots here to kick us off, as he'll try to get the final out of the inning. As we take you back to that game, it was Ryan Marketel who started on the mound for the Pilots and struggled before coming on in relief was Ryan Wynn. And as we mentioned, the bases are loaded here for the Pioneers as we pick it up here in the top of the first. There's two outs. And obviously it'll be a strange start for both of these teams, as it'll be the same lineup for the Pilots that we saw on that day. A couple of changes for the Pioneers, as it's Luke Stevenson who will start us off. And he was not here for this game that we saw on June the 3rd. And he will kick things off here. And so Ryan Wynn, obviously a difficult position for him to be put in, as the right-hander plays at Bowdoin College. Will try to get the final out of the inning, as he's got to be careful as the bases are loaded here for the Pioneers. He starts us off with the strike, as Liam Harding is behind the plate doing the catching duties. It'll be interesting to see if head coach Matt Colbert for the Newark Pilots decides to make any changes after the inning concludes, as the Pilots have not even come up to bat in this game that we pick up. Wynn ready to go. It's a 1-2 count to Luke Stevenson. Holds off on one in the dirt. As we mentioned, Stevenson did not play in this game. It was a 1-1 count when the rain took over and play was concluded. So it's a 2-2 count to Stevenson now. That one's in the dirt, and it'll run the count full. And so it'll be a full count to Ryan Wynn here, with the bases loaded here in the top of the first. you wanted action, you get it right off the bat in this one. As Wynn is ready with the payoff pitch. Runners are going with 2 outs. And Stevenson will foul it back, and so we'll do it over. 2 outs in that full count. The runners get the free pass to get a sizable lead. Luke Stevenson from Elginock, Michigan, trying to bring in a couple more runs. Here's another 3-2. Swung and fouled off once again. And so Stevenson fights off a pair of pitches from Ryan Wynn, and the count remains full. Pioneers had 2 hits credited to them. Was able to bring in a couple of batters were hit, and a couple of walks drew in a couple of runs as well. Another 3-2 pitch, hauled off in the dirt, and it's going to walk in a run. And as we mentioned, it's kind of a difficult position for Ryan Wynn to be thrown into here to begin this game, and he walks the second hitter in the lineup today for the Pioneers, Luke Stevenson, and so it walks in a run. And the Pioneers extend their lead to 6-0 here at the top of the first now. In case you're just joining us, picking this one up from a June 3rd contest that was rained out after we played 2/3 of an inning in this one. And so there's still 2 gone and the bases are loaded. And it's Tanner Johnson who comes to the plate. He was walked when we saw him back on June the 3rd and came around to score as well. And he's at the plate now. Swings on this one and sends it into right field, and it'll fall foul. That went close to dropping fair, and that would have brought home a couple more runs. As I think for the Pilots right now, it's just a manage of trying to limit the damage here in the top of the first and see what they can do when they come back up to bat, as they're already down 6-0 in this one. For the Pilots, I would assume that doesn't feel like a 6-0 game. But nevertheless, they'll have to try and work themselves out of this one. It's an 0-1 count after the foul ball from Johnson. Wynn tosses one in the dirt, and so the count goes to 1-1. Wynn ready to go with the 1-1 here to Johnson, fouled off. And so it'll be a ball and 2 strikes to Tanner Johnson now, as there's still 2 gone here in the top of the first. Bases are loaded for Elmira. Tanner Johnson from Crestwood, Kentucky, plays at Kentucky University. Wynn having a difficult time reading the signs from Liam Harding here, the catcher. But he's ready to go now. It's a 1-2 pitch. Swung down to the third baseman, Marchessault. Tough play for him. He'll make the play over to first, and it'll skip away. And more runs will come around to score for the Pioneers. A tough hopper there for Andre Marchessault, and he couldn't handle it, and it's going to be an error charged to him as Grady Wright couldn't scoop it out of the dirt. And 2 more runs come around to score for the Pioneers, and it's now an 8-0 lead here in the top of the first. And things are already getting messy as we pick this one back up after the rain delay that we had a couple weeks ago. Still trying to record the final out is Ryan Wynn. There's runners on second and third now, as William Perrin is back at the plate. Perrin 1 for 1. He came around to score when we saw him back on June the 3rd. 0-1 count to Perrin as Wynn is ready to go. Off speeder drops in there, and so Perrin is in an 0-2 hole. as it's an 8-0 Pioneers lead now. Wynn ready to go. Swung on by Perrin and fouled off, and so he stays alive on the count, and it remains 0-2. It'll be Graham, Warren, and Murphy that lead us off when we head to the bottom of the first. It's funny to think we haven't even seen the Pilots lineup in this game yet. And only 2 hits for the Pioneers, but they've come across to score 8 times in this one. 2 errors charged to the Pilots, and we just saw the second one by Andre Marchessault over there at third. Wynn takes a peek down to second, now delivers. Fouled off by Perrin. And Brian Wynn is thinking, what do I got to do to get the final strike and get out of this inning? As it was bases loaded when we restarted this affair. And all 3 of those base runners that jogged out to start the game have come around to score, and it's now 8-0 Pioneers. Wynn ready to go with another 0-2. Off-speeder falls in there for strike 3, and so Wynn ends the inning, but the Pioneers get 3, and from the rain delay start, they had a 5-0 lead. They've extended that to 8-0. We'll see if the Pilots can fight back now, as they'll need to get something going here at Colburn Park. We head to the bottom of the first. It's 8-0 Pioneers, excuse me, here on Newark Pilots TV. We head to the bottom of the first as we welcome you back to Colburn Park. It's the Pioneers who have an 8-0 lead after we pick up play from a rain delay game back on June the 3rd. And it's Mason Hazelwood, the left-hander from Kentucky, who will be on the mound for the Pioneers to start us off here. And it's Justin Graham who leads off the Pilots order here today. Tanner Johnson, also from Kentucky, so obviously some chemistry there between the pitcher and the catcher there. As Mason Hazelwood, the big lefty, there's a 1-1 count against Justin Graham here to lead us off in the bottom half of the first. Graham takes a swing at this one and misses, and so the count is 1-2. Mason Hazelwood just finished up his freshman year at Kentucky. Made 18 appearances for the Wildcats. Pitched 19 innings. One-two count, swung on and missed by Graham, and so the leadoff man is retired, as it's the first strikeout of the afternoon for Mason Hazelwood.
Michigan, number 22, shortstop, Xavier Warren.
Xavier Warren will come to the plate now. With Hazelwood being a lefty, Warren will take to the right side of the plate. Big cut and a miss from him. And so it's strike one to Warren. Xavier Warren had 2 hits in the loss to Utica, as the Blue Sox were able to come back in that one and pull off the come-from-behind victory as they took it 5-4. Pioneers last night lost 5-2 at the hands of the Jamestown Jammers, who continue to run away with that Western Division race here in the early going of the season. Moved them to 12-3. Check swing by Warren is grounded down to Henneman at first, and he easily touches up. And so there's 2 retired now here in the bottom half of the first.
Number 10, right fielder, Alan Murphy.
It was a sloppy first inning back before the rain delay on June the 3rd that we saw an error from the Pilots, a couple of walks, and a couple of batters hit. And the Pioneers got 5 runs. They tacked on 3 more when we picked up play here this afternoon at Colburn Park, and they have an 8-0 lead now. As there's 2 gone in the bottom half of the first, it's Alan Murphy who stands in now for the Pilots. Murphy leads the team with 3 home runs. Ty Babin is the only other Pilot that has a home run this year. Murphy fouls that one off, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him. Murphy from Ridgefield, New York, is ready to go. Big cut and miss from him as he got a piece of that. And so Hazelwood is ahead in the count, 1-2. Looking to take him down in order here in the bottom half of the first. 1-2 count. Hazelwood is ready. Off speeder, swung on and missed. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Hazelwood as he gets his second strikeout. And it's still 8-0 Pioneers as we head to the top half of the second from Colburn Park. Dan Cooter here as we welcome you back to Colburn Park. We pick up things in the top of the second now as the Pioneers lead 8-0 in this one. In game 1 of a doubleheader this afternoon and evening. This game 2 is set to begin at 7:05. This one will be 9 innings. The second one only 7. As it's the right-hander Matt Seaman now on the mound. So Ryan Wynn got the final out of that inning, and his day is done. Not many pitches from him, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him again in tonight's contest. It's Nucerino who's at the plate for the Pioneers. We didn't see him in the rain-delayed game, as this one is chopped into the Pioneers bullpen. So it's a foul ball. And a 1-2 count to New Sereno now. New Sereno from Fayetteville, New York. Swings this one down to the second baseman, Graham. He's able to corral it and makes the play over to first to retire the leadoff man.
Now batting, number 3, center fielder, Brendan Conley.
Brendan Conley now with the plate for Elmira. As Elmira comes into this game struggling just as much as the Pilots have been, as they are 5-12 on the year. Pilots 4-12. Off speeder from Seaman just misses inside, and so the count goes to 1-1 on Conley. And we saw the Pioneers get drubbed at Dunn Field by the Pilots. 10-1. A broken bat here from Conley, and the play over to first is made by Marchessault. And so there's 2 retired now here in the top half of the second.
Now batting, number 8, first baseman, Trevor Henneman.
Trevor Henneman strides now in for the Pioneers as Matt Seaman has quickly retired the first 2 outs here in this inning. Seaman tosses one in the dirt, and so it's ball 1 to Henneman. We've seen Seaman in one game. He pitched 2 innings and gave up 3 hits and 1 earned run in that contest. Seaman tosses in a slider for strike 1, and so it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Trevor Henneman. Pitch inside, and it smacks Henneman on the back, and he'll get the free pass down to first as he was hit by that pitch. So Mason Rollman comes up to the plate now after Seaman hits Henneman to allow him to get down to first with 2 outs here in the top half of the second. Pioneers lead 8-0 in this one. They got 8 runs in the top half of the first. Rollman looks at ball 1 outside from Matt Seaman. Seaman takes a peek over to Henneman at first. Henneman now from the stretch. Misses with this one outside as Matt Seaman, and so it's 2 balls and no strikes to Rollman. Rollman from Fairhaven, Michigan, plays at Riverland Community College. Takes a big cut at this one and gets all air, and so the count is 2-1 to him now. Seaman looks to get the final out of the inning. It's only 2 hits for the Pioneers in this one, but they've managed to get 8 across home plate, as there's been 2 errors for the Pilots in this one. Seaman gets that one to fall in the inside corner, and so all 2s across the board. It's a 2-2 count to Rollman. Henneman over there at first after being hit by a pitch by Seaman just moments ago. Seaman's ready with the 2-2 delivery. Swung on right to Warren. It's short, and he'll make the catch. And so Matt Seaman does his job in the top half of the second, and the score remains 8-0 as we head to the bottom of the second here at Colburn Park. Game 1 of 2 here at Colburn Park today as the Pioneers lead 8-0 this one as we're ready for the bottom half of the second. Hazelwood sent them down in order when we saw the Pilots in the bottom of the first, and so it's Grady Wright, the first baseman, who leads us off as he looks at strike one on the outside part of the plate as Hazelwood is able to get ahead. Grady Wright from Fayetteville, Tennessee. Plays at Lincoln Memorial. Takes a swing and fouls this one off, and he's in an 0-2 hole now. Hazelwood, we've seen him make 2 starts on the mound this year for Elmira. He's had 13 innings pitched and has given up 3 earned runs on 9 hits. Off-speeder fouled off by Wright into foul territory, trying to make a play on it, but cannot as Stevenson, the left fielder, and so still an 0-2 count to Wright. Mason Hazelwood coming into today's game was tied for the team lead in strikeouts with 14. He's taken the lead for the Pioneers in that department now as he had 2 in the bottom half of the first, so he's up to 16 strikeouts on the year. Still an 0-2 count to Grady Wright as Hazelwood is ready to deliver. Misses high out of the reach of Tanner Johnson, the catcher for Elmira. And so it escapes to the backstop. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Wright. Hazelwood into the windup. Strike 3 as Grady Wright gets caught looking. And so he goes down on strikes. The 3rd K already of the afternoon for Hazelwood, and there's 1 gone in the bottom half of the second now.
Dawson Bailey.
Dawson Bailey comes to the plate now, and one of these Pilots is going to try and figure out the left-hander Mason Hazelwood as he's sent all 4 batters down so far, 3 of those being strikeouts as we just mentioned. Dawson Bailey, the center fielder, plays at Niagara University from Porter, New York. He steps in now, trying to spark some life into the bats of the Pilots as they're down 8-0 in this one, looking for their first hit of the contest. Bailey holds off on a strike on the outside corner, and so the count is at 1-1 to Bailey. Dawson Bailey hitting .371 in 9 appearances this year, has 13 hits, tied with Xavier Warren for the team lead. Plenty of outfielders for the Pilots, so we've seen plenty of competition in the team to try and earn some playing time as Dawson Bailey, as we mentioned, out there in center field, has himself a hitter's count here as it's 3-1 with 1 gone in the bottom of the second. Hazelwood ready to deliver. Hazelwood tosses in a strike, and so the count runs full on Bailey now. Dawson Bailey has struck out 9 times this year. Grady Wright, that was his 20th strikeout of the year as he leads the team in that department. Bailey, he strikes out on that one swinging, and so Hazelwood has 5 Ks, 4 Ks.
Number 19, left fielder, Richard Phillips.
On 5 batters as it's Ricky Phillips who comes to the plate as he'll try to solve Mason Hazelwood. Ricky Phillips looks at strike 1 for Mason Hazelwood, as Hazelwood has looked quite strong on the mound here in the early going for the Pioneers. Swing and a miss from Phillips, and he's quickly behind 0-2. And that's been the key here for Hazelwood in the early going, as he's gotten ahead of pretty much every count. He looks to send him down in order here once again, as Phillips will call time and regroup. As Hazelwood is ahead of the count 0-2 here. Phillips watches that one high and outside, and so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to the left fielder, Phillips now. One-two, swung on and missed, and it's 5 strikeouts for Hazelwood now. It's still 8-0 Pioneers. We head to the top of the third as the Kentucky product, Mason Hazelwood, is in charge here in the early going at Colburn Park. Mason Williamson will lead things off in the top half of the third for the Elmira Pioneers as they're up 8-0 in this one. The right-hander Matt Seaman is back on the mound for the Pilots. Off speeder by Seaman misses, but Harding's able to snag that one in the dirt. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Williamson. Williamson called time on that one as Seaman tossed it. So we'll redo that pitch as Mason Williamson from Birmingham, Alabama, plays at Samford. Has himself a 1-1 count to lead us off here in the top half of the third. Williamson checks his swing, but fouls it off right into the dugout. Matt Colbert with a nice snag there. And so Seaman is ahead of the count, 1-2 now. Seaman ready to go with the 1-2. Swung on and missed by Williamson. And so the leadoff man is retired as it's a strikeout for Matt Seaman.
Now batting, number 27, second baseman, Tom Henderson.
Pioneers head of the top of the order. It's Tommy Henderson. His first plate appearance of today. Back on June 30, he had 2 plate appearances and was hit by a pitch both times. And so he was laying his body on the line to get down to first. So he hopes he can get his bat on it instead of his body. As Seaman tosses in an off speeder for strike 1. And so he's ahead of the count, 0-1. Another off speeder falls in there, and Seaman's quickly ahead of the count, 0-2. As we mentioned, Matt Seaman making his second appearance as a Pilot. Swung on by Henderson, but he's in front of it, and it's down to the bullpen of Elmira. And so the count remains 0-2. Henderson hitting .293 and 58 at-bats, which leads the team and has 17 hits. So plenty of plate appearances here for Tommy Henderson, as he's managed to knock in 4 runs as well and has 1 of 2 home runs on the year for the Pioneers. Jonathan Crimmin has the other home run. Off-speeder held off by Tommy Henderson, and so the count runs even at 2-2. Seaman was able to strike out the leadoff man, Williamson, to lead off the top half of the third. Elmira up in this one 8-0. Seaman into the windup once again, swung on by Henderson and fouled off, and so the count remains 2-2. Another 2-2 offering as Matt Seaman is ready. Henderson sends this one high into the air. Warren calls off March Assault, and he's able to make the play, and so there's 2 gone here in the top half of the third as Seaman looks to send him down in order. As the left fielder, Luke Stevenson, comes to the plate. Stevenson was walked when we saw him lead us off here after the rain delay back on June the 3rd. That one in on the hands as he's able to lay off of that one. As we mentioned, Game 2 at 7:05 right here at Colburn Park tonight. These two teams met in a doubleheader earlier in the year in Elmira at Dunn Field. Elmira was able to take both games, one of those being an impressive comeback by them as they were able to win 9-8 in that one. Pilots, that's really been the story of their season, just not being able to close out games. We saw it once again last night in Utica. This one hard right down to March Assault, and he's able to make the catch. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Seaman. Pilots try to get their bats going when we head to the bottom of the third. They're down 8-0. Mason Hazelwood from Kentucky, who had 19 strikeouts in his freshman year with the Wildcats, has recorded 5 here in his first 6 batters he's faced, as he sent them down 1-2-3 in both the first and second innings as he begins his 3rd inning of work. 2 hits for the Pioneers in this one, none for the Pilots, and the Pioneers lead 8-0. It's the DH, Phil Ferranti, at the plate, as he's ahead of the count 2-0. Not something we've seen very often here for the Pilots batters in the early going, as Hazelwood has been able to control the count. As the Pilots in search of their first hit of the afternoon. Ferranti holds off on one outside, and he's ahead of the count 3-0 now. Ferranti has 9 plate appearances, has 4 hits, batting .444. Oh, Ferranti, he had the ball ready to toss it down, the bat ready to toss it down to the dugout, but It's strike one, and so the count goes to 3-1 on Ferranti. Ferranti from Webster, New York, plays at Monroe Community College. 3-1 count. That one misses high, and so it's the first base runner of the afternoon for the Pilots, and it comes on a walk as Phil Ferranti gets himself down to first.
Now batting out of Cheshire, Connecticut. Number 7, a third baseman, Andre Marchessault.
Hazelwood's first walk of the afternoon. And so it's the third baseman, Andre Marchessault, who comes to the plate for the Pilots now. Marchessault hitting 188 in 16 at-bats, has 3 hits. Hazelwood is able to toss in strike one. So it's 0-1 count to Marchessault. Marchessault from Cheshire, Connecticut, plays at LaSalle College. Hazelwood misses with that one outside, and so the count goes to 1-1. Game 1 of 2 here in this doubleheader today here at Colburn Park. Pilots came in trailing 5-0 after we picked up play in the top of the first. Pioneers notched down 3 more, and so they're down 8-0 in this one. As Marchessault goes around on that one and misses, and so he's behind in the count 1-2. Phil Ferranti is down on first after the leadoff walk by Hazelwood. As Hazelwood is ready to go with the 1-2. Swung on and missed by Marchessault, and it's 6 strikeouts now for Mason Hazelwood, the left-hander. He's been dealing here in the early going for the Pioneers. Mason Hazelwood from Salvisa, Connecticut, or Kentucky, excuse me. He plays at Kentucky as well. A couple of Pioneers on this roster play at Kentucky, along with another pitcher, Jimmy Ramsey from Minnetonka, Minnesota, also plays at Kentucky. It's the catcher from Staten Island, New York, Liam Harding, who strides in for the Pilots. After the Marchessault strikeout, there's 1 gone. Hazelwood with the pitch, a big swing and a miss from Harding. So it's a 1-1 count to Liam Harding now. Harding hitting .222 in 9 plate appearances this far to the season, as that one misses outside, as Tanner Johnson was able to get the glove on it and keep Ferranti at bay down at first. Harding with 2 hits on the year. Has made 4 appearances this year for Newark. 2-1 count. That one misses inside from Hazelwood, so Harding has himself a hitter's count at 3-1, as there's 1 out recorded here in the bottom of the 3rd. Pilots trying to get themselves back into this one as they're down 8-0. And went inside, so it's another walk from Hazelwood. And Harding's down to first, and Ferranti is over to second.
Now back out of St. Mary, Pennsylvania, number 12, second baseman, Justin Graham.
Pilots turn over the order as it's Justin Graham who comes back to the plate. He struck out his first time up. Graham chops this one down to the shortstop. Could be a double play ball, but it's going to be dropped. Ferranti could have gone home on that one, but he decided to stay put. And so the bases are loaded.
Southfield, Michigan, number 22, shortstop, Xavier Warren.
And we'll see if that one's charged as an error or not, but Nevertheless, it'll be the Pilots who had the bases loaded here. And the perfect time to try and get some runs back as there's one gone here in the bottom of the third. And it's Xavier Warren, the Central Michigan product from Southfield, Michigan, who comes to the plate. Warren swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. Warren 0 for 1. He grounded out his first time up. Tommy Henderson could not make the play over to Rollman at second. And so it is a charged error to the Pioneers as the bases are loaded. Warren looks at strike 2 on the lower half of the plate, and so he's behind in the count 0-2. And it looked as though Phil Ferranti, the DH, was going to come home to score, but I'm not sure if he was held up by the third base coach, Colbert, or just a judgment call on his part, but he held up at third, and it keeps the bases loaded. Warren sends one right to the shortstop. Now it could be a double play ball. Warren, did he get there? Yes, he did. And so he's safe, and Ferranti comes home to score, and the Pilots are on the board.
Number 10, right fielder, Alan Murphy.
As it's an 8-1 ball game now, as there's runner at the corners after Graham was called out at second, as Henderson was able to make the play over to Rollman that time. And so with 2 gone, it's Alan Murphy who comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 1, struck out his first time up. Xavier Warren able to reach on the fielder's choice. He will pick up an RBI on the play, though. 0-1 count to Murphy. Hazelwood gets him to swing around on this one, and so he's in an 0-2 hole here. For Xavier Warren, it's his 8th run brought around to score for him this year. Second on the team only to Alan Murphy at the plate right now with 13. Murphy holds off on a slider that escaped the zone, and so the count goes to 1-2. 2 outs here in the bottom half of the third. Pilots are on the board. They still don't have a hit in this one, but an error by the Pioneers allowed a run to come around to score. Off speeder just outside as Murphy held off of it, and so the count goes to 2-2. Alan Murphy, as we mentioned, 3 home runs on the year for him. He also has 4 doubles. That also leads the team, and so he's been strong at the plate for the Pilots this year. Runners going. Murphy swings on it, though, and strikes out. It's the 7th K of the afternoon for Mason Hazelwood, but the Pilots get 1 back in strand 2. It's an 8-1 Pioneers lead as we head to the top of the 4th. I'm Dan Cooter here at Colburn Park. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV. As we head to the top of the fourth, it's the Pioneers on top, 8-1 in this one. As we play a continuation game here on a game that got delayed back on June the 3rd, as we only got 2/3 of an inning done, but the Pioneers were able to tack on 5 runs in that one, and they got 3 more before Ryan Wynn could get the final out of the inning in the top of the first. And so it was the Pioneers up 8-0, and so the Pilots have been playing catch-up ever since. And as we head to the top of the fourth, Newark was able to get one back, and so it's an 8-1 ball game. Matt Seaman, the right-hander, beginning his 3rd inning of work. He's kept a clean score sheet until now as this one escapes up the middle. So it's the first hit Seaman gives up, and it's a leadoff single for Tanner Johnson, the catcher.
Now batting, number 34, third baseman, William Perrin.
William Perrin from north of the border in Quebec comes to the plate now for the Pioneers. Perrin struck out his last time up. Seaman from the stretch now. This one chopped right up to Warren at short. Could be a double play ball. Graham, can he turn it? Yes, he can. Good play by Xavier Warren to toss it over to Justin Graham, and he's able to make the accurate throw to Grady Wright at first. And now, just like that, they're 2 gone on the double play ball.
Right fielder, Anthony Nucerno.
Anthony Nucerno comes up now. He's 0 for 1. Not the easiest of plays there for Xavier Warren at short, but he makes it look quite easy there as here's a bunt laid down. Liam Harding's going to have to make it. The throw over there, does he? No, he can't. So a sneaky play there by Nucerino to get himself on as he lays down the bunt. It'll be the 3rd hit of the afternoon for the Pioneers now. That one caught me by surprise. Brendan Conley, who comes to the plate now, 0 for 2. As Seaman has to deal with the man down at first as Nucerino is able to reach on the bunt. A clean bunt laid down there by Nucerino. Put it in the perfect place where Liam Harding, who's a right-hander, had to turn his body around on it. This one flied out into center. Bailey tracking it, and he's able to make the play. Matt Seaman has kept it clean for the Pilots as it's an 8-1 ball game. We head to the bottom of the fourth here on Newark Pilots TV. Lots of baseball to be played here at Colburn Park today as it's game 1 of 2 in this doubleheader action. As the Pioneers lead 8-1, we head to the bottom half of the fourth. It's the first baseman, Grady Wright, who will lead us off. He struck out his first time up. was one of 7 Ks that Mason Hazelwood has in this game, as he has been quite dominant on the mound for the Pioneers. Wright holds off on one up in the zone. Two-0 count to Grady Wright from Fayetteville, Tennessee. He's ready to go. Swings on this one high into center. Underneath it is Conley, and he's able to make the catch. And so there's one retired here to lead us off in the bottom half of the fourth. And as we've mentioned, Mason Hazelwood with those 7 strikeouts has been quite dominant on the mound for the Pioneers here. He was 1 for 2 with a 6.63 ERA for the Kentucky Wildcats this past year. As we mentioned, 19 strikeouts. He's got 1/3 of that today with 7. Bailey shows bunt on that one. Something similar we saw with New Sereno as it caught the infield off guard, but he held off and it comes into a ball. So it's a 1-0 count to Bailey. Bailey chops it one low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to Dawson Bailey. Bailey 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. He's saying that a lot as we go through the order for the second time with the Pilots. Hazelwood's ready with the 1-1. Fouled off right into the glove of Tanner Johnson, the catcher. And so it's Hazelwood who is ahead of the count, as it's 1-2 to Dawson Bailey. Hazelwood ready with the 1-2, and he gets Bailey swinging at an off speeder. And it's Hazelwood's 8th strikeout of the afternoon. There's quickly 2 gone here in the bottom half of the fourth as Ricky Phillips comes back to the plate. He struck out as well his first time up. Phillips takes a crack at the first pitch and fouls it off, and so Hazelwood gets himself ahead of the count. Pilots got a run in the bottom half of the third to make it an 8-1 game. They still don't have a hit in this one yet, though, as that run came around to score on an error by the Pioneers. Phillips looks at strike 2 on the inside part of the plate, and he's quickly in an 0-2 hole. As it's Mason Hazelwood on the mound, the left-hander plays at Kentucky. He has been strong here for the Pioneers, as the Pilots have yet to figure him out. Pretty nice for Hazelwood. He had himself an 8-0 lead when he came on to pitch in the bottom half of the first. Not a bad cushion to have. But he's been playing like it's a 0-0 game, as he has 8 Ks in this one. And has not given up an earned run. Phillips swings on that one, and it's 9 Ks for Hazelwood. It's an 8-1 Elmira lead. It's a quick one, 1-2-3 inning. And we head to the top of the 5th here at Colburn Park. Dan Cooter here as we welcome you back to Colburn Park. Top of the fifth, Pioneers up 8-1, and we've talked a lot about Mason Hazelwood, the left-hander for the Pioneers. Matt Siemens coming on for Ryan Wynn has been quite strong for the Pilots as well. As he hasn't given up the run in this one. He's only given up 2 hits in 3 innings of work. He has 1 strikeout. It's Trevor Henneman back at the plate for the Pioneers, and he starts him off with a couple of balls, so it's a 2-0 count to Henneman. As this one's chopped down to Marchessault, he can't handle it, and Henneman's going to get himself on. And it's going to be an E5 charge to Andre Marchessault as he couldn't make the ground out down at third. The second error we've seen charged to Andre Marchessault here in this game, as he had a wild throw down to first as Grady Wright couldn't get it. And so the leadoff man is aboard after the error.
Four. 2 on the first and 1 in the 4 total. Sorry.
How do you want it? More towards.
Sorry about that, folks. Just fixing the camera up there for you. It's a 3-0 count to Rollman here as Henneman's down on first after the error. He was hit by pitches last time up and is able to reach on an error this time. So Matt Seaman with none gone, trying to get the first out of this one. He gets a strike ball in the outside corner to Rollman. And so it's a 3-1 count. Rollman, he's 0 for 1 on the day, as it's Williamson due up next in the 9th spot for the Pioneers. Seaman ready with the 3-1. Swung on by Rollman, and it's chopped up foul, and so the count will run full. It's an 8-1 Pioneers lead here with none gone in the top of the 5th. 4 hits for Elmira, none for the Pilots. Runners going. The throw by Harding, it's well short. As Rollman struck out, as he swung and missed on that one. And so there's 1 gone here in the top of the 5th. After the strikeout, his 2nd of the afternoon for Matt Seaman. Oh, he was thrown out. I totally missed that. I did not see him get thrown out. That ball was about 5 feet short, and I thought that he missed it, but I guess he. I'm not sure if there was interference on that when he slid in or not. But there's 2 gone as Williamson is at the plate. Apologize for that, folks. I didn't look like there was a tag even applied there as Warren dropped the ball. But there's 2 outs now here in the top half of the 5th as Seaman tosses one in the dirt. So the count goes to 1-1 on Mason Williamson. He struck out his first time up. So Matt Seaman catches a little bit of a break there as an off-speeder misses low. So the count goes to 2-1. We've seen plenty of off-speed pitches from Matt Seaman here today, mixing in with that fastball as he took over for Ryan Wynn in the top half of the 2nd. Seaman misses again inside, and so the count goes to 3-1 on Williamson. As we get some here, Mason Williamson, as we mentioned, from Birmingham, Alabama, plays at Samford. This one chopped down the third baseline, but it'll fall foul. And so the count goes to 3-2 on Williamson now. With 2 gone here in the top of the 5th, Pioneers lead 8-1 in this one after we pick up a rain-delayed game back on June 3rd. It was a 5-0 Pioneers lead in the top of the 1st. They got 3 more to take an 8-0 lead. 3-2 pitch misses outside as Williamson holds off on it. So it's a 2-out walk. Williamson gets the free pass, and Pioneers turn over the order as Tommy Henderson comes back to the plate. He is 0 for 1 today. He was hit by a pair of pitches when we saw him back on June 3rd. It's the first walk Seaman has given up since coming into the game. Henderson swings on this one down the third baseline, and fair. Very close, but it'll be fair. Here's the relay in, and the runners will get to second and third as that one fell right on the third baseline and became a fair ball.
Number 29, left fielder, Luke Stevenson.
That one dropped right on the third baseline as it was very close to being foul, but Henderson is able to come around on one and send it into left field, and it falls for a double. And there's runners on second and third with 2 gone now for the Pioneers. Stevenson comes back to the plate. He's been walked. Seaman tosses in some off-speed magic on that one as it catches the inside part of the plate for strike 1. Harding able to keep it in front of him, and the runners will stay put as Seaman came to home plate just to make sure. And so it's a 1-1 count to Stevenson. Stevenson from Algonquin, Michigan, is set to play his college baseball at Xavier this upcoming season. Seaman misses with another one in the dirt. And so it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Stevenson as there's still 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. If the Pilots really want any chance in this one, Seaman's going to have to try and get himself out of the inning here. He's able to get one to fall in the lower half of the plate, and so it's a 2-2 count. As the Pilots, as we mentioned, their only run has come on an error, and they're hitless in this game through 4. Mason Hazelwood has been strong on the mound for the Pioneers. Seaman ready to go with the 2-2 offering. Swung on by Stevenson and fouled off, and so the count will remain at 2-2. As Mason Williamson is down on third after he was walked with 2 outs, and then Tommy Henderson snagged a double and brought Williamson around to third. Seaman's ready to go with another 2-2. Off speeder just on the outside part of the plate, but called the ball, and so the count runs full. Counts full here to Stevenson as the runners will get a head start, and it's thrown in there for another ball, and so the second walk of the inning for Seaman, and the bases are loaded with 2 gone now.
Number 15, the catcher, Tanner Johnson.
And what looked like a clean inning for Matt Seaman has turned into quite the jam with the bases loaded and 2 gone here in the top of the 5th. Pioneers up 8-1, trying to look to add a little more of a cushion to that lead they already have. It's Tanner Johnson who swings one to Warren. The play over to first, he's going to elect to go over to Grady Wright, and he'll record the out. So the Pioneers strand 3 here in the top of the 5th, and they still lead 8-1 as the Pilots come back up the bat looking for their first hit of the game when we come back to Colburn Park.
hitter, Philip Ferranti.
The designated hitter, Phil Ferranti, will lead things off here in the bottom half of the fifth, as the Pilots are still in search of their first hit of the game, as they have been dominated by the left-hander from Kentucky, Mason Hazelwood. Hazelwood with 9 strikeouts coming into the fifth inning. And Ferranti takes a swing at this one, and there's the Pilots' first hit as it falls into right field. And so the leadoff man is aboard with a single.
Number 7, third baseman, Andre Marchessault.
Andre Marchessault comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 1 as he struck out his first time up. It's the first time we've seen the Pilots get their leadoff man on board, as they trail in this one 8-1. All 8 runs coming in for the Pioneers in the top half of the first. Ferranti down on first as Marchessault is ready to go after fouling off the first pitch. Hazelwood is ahead in the count 0-1. Marchessault chases one out of the strike zone, and he's quickly behind 0-2 now. Marchessault, as we mentioned, from Chester, Connecticut, plays at LaSalle College. Down there at third base today for the Pilots. Hazelwood ready with the 0-2. Just misses outside. And so the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes, with none gone here in the bottom of the fifth. Lots of water for me today here in this doubleheader, as we'll kick it off at 7:05 at Colburn Park for Game 2. Coming into today, Elmira sitting at 5-11 in the Western Division. Pilots at 4-10. If the Pilots could sweep this doubleheader, they would leapfrog the Pioneers in the West Division. But it's going to have to include a big comeback here. Marchessault is able to hold off on 3 straight balls, and so the count runs full on him. It's Liam Harding, the catcher, in the 9-hole for the Pilots today, who is up next. Marchessault ready for the payoff pitch. He fouls it off, and Johnson catches it. Now we're going to have Connor McKenzie say that it wasn't caught. Now, from my understanding, I'm being told by my wonderful statistician here to my right that he has to cleanly catch that one. And it seemed as though he corralled it off of his elbow. And so a chat here from the umpires. And so they are going to say he was out. So after the discussion, Marchessault is called out. And so it's the first out of the inning, as the catcher Liam Harding strides in for the Pilots. He was walked his first time up. So it's Marchessault's 2nd strikeout of the afternoon and Hazelwood's 10th of the game. This one escapes Johnson, and it's going to allow Ferranti to easily get down to second into scoring position here for the Pilots. First wild pitch we've really seen from Mason Hazelwood, as Tanner Johnson's life has been made easy behind home plate. One 0 count now to Harding. Catches the inside corner of the plate, so it's 1-1 now. After the Marchessault strikeout, there's 1 gone here in the bottom of the fifth. Pioneers lead 8-1 in this one. Hazelwood will step off and get a visit from his fellow Wildcat, Tanner Johnson, both of them playing in the SEC Conference at Kentucky. As Johnson will jog his way back behind home plate. As it's a 1-1 count to the catcher, Liam Harding. Harding holds off on another one in the strike zone, and so he's behind in the count 1-2. Hazelwood trying to record the second out of the inning as he's got Ferranti over there on second. Swing and a miss by Harding, and there's two retired now as it's Hazelwood's 11th strikeout.
Now batting out of St. Mary, Pennsylvania, number 12, second baseman, Justin Graham.
Pilots go to the top of the order. It's Justin Graham. He's 0 for 2 and has one strikeout. Xavier Warren and Phil Ferranti are the only two Pilots that haven't struck out in this game. As Graham holds off on the bunt, but it falls in there for a strike, and so Hazelwood once again is ahead of the count. Tough sledding for these Pilots bats in this one. This one escapes Johnson, and Ferranti is going to get down to third. That one looked like Tanner Johnson maybe was just taken aback by how outside that pitch was as he reached the glove out to try and grab it, but could not so. And so Ferranti, and a pair of wild pitches from Hazelwood, is down to third. Graham swings on this one, but sends it down the third baseline and foul. And so Hazelwood is ahead in the count 1-2. As Graham will try to do whatever he can to send this one into the outfield and try to bring Ferranti home as there's two gone in the bottom of the fifth. Pilots trailing by 7 as the score is 8-1 in this one. Graham sends it down the first baseman, Henneman. He bobbles it twice. The play over to first, and they get him. Tough play there for Trevor Henneman at first, but he makes it happen. And the score remains 8-1 as we head to the top of the 6th here at Colburn Park. Welcome back to Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here. It's an 8-1 Elmira Pioneers lead as they lead your Newark Pilots as we head to the top of the 6th in this one. Matt Seaman, the right-hander, batting the mound for the Pilots to start his 5th inning of work. He's been strong as he hasn't given up any runs in this one. As the score has remained at 8 for the Pioneers ever since the top of the 1st. Seaman tosses this one outside, and so it's a 1-1 count. The new hitter for the Pioneers, it's Nate Panzer who comes into the game. from Westport, Connecticut, plays at UConn. Swing and a miss from Panzer, and so the count is at 2-2 to him. Seaman ready with the 2-2 offering. Swung on and missed by Panzer, and so he strikes out the leadoff man here in the top of the 6th.
Now batting, number 13, right fielder, Anthony Lucierno.
So Nate Panzer comes on for William Perrin, as it's Anthony Lucierno who comes to the plate. Was able to reach on a bunt his last time up, as it caught the catcher Liam Harding off guard, and he was able to reach. Lucierno, like Panzer, plays at UConn. He's from Fayetteville, New York, not Fayetteville, Tennessee, like Grady Wright. As Seaman misses with 2 balls outside, and so it's a 2-0 count to Lucierno. Lucierno looks at another ball, and so it's 3 straight from Seaman and a 3-0 count with 1 gone. Four straight balls from Matt Seaman will walk Lucierno down to first, and so it's a 1-out walk as a visit here out to Matt Seaman from Liam Harding.
Number 3, center fielder, Brendan Conley.
Brendan Conley, who's 0 for 3 on the afternoon, comes back to the plate. It's been a tough afternoon here for the Pilots, as they came in down 5-0 after the rain delay, and they've been playing catch up ever since. As they're down 8-1 in this one now. Seaman tosses one in there high, and so starts Conley off with a ball as well after 4 straight to Lucierno, who was down at first after the walk. This one sent into right field, right into the gap, and it's going to drop. It's extra bases for Lucierno as he gets around to third. And Conley holds up at first, but he advances the runner to third, and there's runners at the corners with 1 gone now here in the top of the 6th. Trevor Henneman, the first baseman, comes back to the plate, as he is 0 for 2, was able to reach on an error his last time up. A mound visit here as they chat things over with Matt Seaman. As we welcome you back in here to Colburn Park, I'm Dan Cooter. A long day of baseball ahead of us here, as we got another one coming up at 7:05. This one will play 9 innings. The next game is only 7, as we make up a rain delay back on June 3rd. It's the Pioneers up 8-1 in this one. They have 6 hits compared to the Pilots' only hit by Phil Ferranti, the DH. Pilots with 3 errors in this one, and the Pioneers with 1. Swung on by Henneman and fouled off, and so it's strike 1 to him. Henneman from Corning, New York, is set to play his college ball at Canisius this upcoming spring. Seaman throws a ball in there, and so it's a 1-1 count to Henneman, as the Pioneers have runners at the corners. Matt Seaman hasn't given up any runs since coming in the game. Swung on by Henneman high in the air. Bailey track it in center. And Lucierno should be able to tag and score here easily, and he will. And so it's an RBI for Henneman as he brings in another Pioneers run, and they extend their lead to 9-1.
Shortstop, Mason Goldman.
That's all Trevor Henneman had to do there was get that one into the outfield and high enough in the air where Nasirnio could tag and come home to score, and that he did. And the Pioneers lead 9-1 now. Rollman back at the plate. 0 for 2. He struck out his last time up. Rollman, one hit on the year for him in 15 at-bats for the Pioneers as he takes a big cut at this one and misses. And so it's strike one to him. Henneman with the sac fly is his 7th RBI of the year, second on the team only to Craig Corliss, the catcher, who is not in action here today. This one sent down to the second baseman, Graham, and he makes the play over to first to retire the side. Pilots strand one, but get another one, and they lead 9-1 in this one as the Pilots come back up to bat when we head to the bottom half of the 6th. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV. Bottom of the 6th here at Colburn Park. The Pioneers up 9-1 in this one. They were able to tack on another run in the top half of the 6th. It's Xavier Warren will lead us off.
Xavier Warren.
Your shortstop for the Pilots. A new pitcher, the left-hander for the Pioneers, Antonio Balducci from Mechanicsville, Virginia. Pitches at Richmond University. A little sidearm action from Balducci. We'll see how the Pilots can deal with that as he looks at strike one as Xavier Warren. Warren 0 for 2 on the afternoon. He was able to pick up an RBI on the ground out his last time up as the only run of the Pilots came around to score. Warren holds off on one outside and in. It's a 1-1 count to Warren now. Warren from Southfield, Michigan, plays at Central Michigan. Stands on that right side of the plate right now with the left-hand pitcher Balducci up. swings and misses at this one, and so Balducci is ahead in the count, 1-2. Balducci, as we mentioned, from Mechanicsville, Virginia, stands on a left-hander from Mechanicsville, Virginia at 6'0", 170. A big cut and a miss from Warren there, and so it's strikeout number one for Balducci to lead us off here in the bottom half of the sixth. Balducci picks off right where Hazelwood left off as Hazelwood exits the game with 11 strikeouts. Alan Murphy, he is replaced here as it's a new batter for the Pilots. It's Walters who takes over. Walters wearing number 9 for the Pilots after Ben Cowles finished up his season with the Pilots, heading off to Maryland. And it's Walters who sends one into center, and it's going to drop into the gap and left. It could be extra bases. Walters rounding first, heading to second. And he'll come in with a stand-up double as he is aboard here in the bottom half of the sixth. Second hit of the game for the Pilots. So Walters pays dividends after taking over for Alan Murphy at the plate.
Number 17, first baseman, Grady Wright.
The first baseman, Grady Wright, comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 2, has struck out once here today. As Walters is in scoring position over there at second, is Balducci keeping an eye on him. He tosses in ball one outside to Grady Wright. Walters is back to second as he retreats. Walter, in only 9 at-bats now in the year, has 5 hits. Wright sends one deep into right field. Looking back, off the wall. Walter had to hold up, but he's going to come home to score. And Grady Wright has himself an RBI, and it's a 9-2 ball game. That one close to exiting itself here at Colburn Park, but it smacks up against that Newark Garden Hotel sign in right field.
New York, number 11.
And it brings home another run.
Dawson Bailey. His name is James Lakers.
Grady Wright picks up his 4th RBI of the year as Walter came around to score. Dawson Bailey will come to the plate now as he is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts to his name. A new right fielder here for the Pioneers. As it's New Sereno who comes to the dugout. And we'll get you the name here that Pioneers taking over in right field. It's Colin Davis from Rossville, Georgia, plays at Wofford. He takes over in right field now for Elmira. So some changes for both sides here as we are deep into this one now in the bottom of the 6th. Grady Wright is over on second after his RBI double. Big cut and a miss by Bailey. One count as Balducci misses inside with that one and pushes the count to 2-1. Balducci ready with the 2-1. Bailey swings on it and fouls it off into the backstop. And so the count runs even at 2-2 on Bailey now. Two count. Bailey swings it down to third. It'll fall. The throw over to first. It's a bouncer. Henneman can't get it, and there's a big collision there as Bailey is down. as him and Henneman came together after Henneman couldn't corral the throw over there from third. And Bailey is in a heap of pain as he was called safe on the play. As my vision's a little skewed from here, but I was looking on there down at first, and I saw Bailey tumble down as he's back on his feet. Seems to be okay as he shakes it off. And so he's safe over there at first. It's going to be an error charged to the third baseman, Panzer.
Now batting out of Webster, New York, number 24, left fielder, Stephen Edgett.
Well, that actually wasn't Panzer. That's Tommy Henderson, as we had a change there down at third base. And so Henderson gets the error. And so with one gone, Wright is on second still, and Bailey is on first. Stephen Edgett comes to the plate now as he takes over for Rick Phillips out there in left field. Edgett, his 8th at-bat of the year, has one hit as a wild pitch will advance the runners to second and third now.
That's 2 balls. 2 balls. Oh, did you swing at that one? I think you tapped.
Count is 2-0 to Edgett here after the wild pitch from Balducci. Edgett able to check his swing on that one. A call down to McKenzie, but he says he did not go around, and so it's a 3-0 count now to Stephen Edgett, as Balducci has himself in a little bit of a jam here. In the bottom of the 6th, he's given up a run, and it's a 9-2 Elmira lead now. Edgett misses, well, is able to hold off on one as Balducci misses with that one high, and it walks the bases loaded here.
Out of Webster, New York, number 23, designated hitter, Philip Ferranti.
The DH, Phil Ferranti, comes back to the plate as he was able to get the first hit of the afternoon for the Pilots. They now have 3 in the game, and it's amazing to think that they're only being out hit 6-3, but it's a 9-2 ball game. The Pioneers lead. Bases are loaded for Newark as they look to cut into that Pioneers lead. Balducci gets one to fall on the inside part of the plate for strike 1. Ferranti ready to go. 0-1 count. That one misses inside, but Tanner Johnson does a good job to keep it in front of him, as that could have turned into a wild pitch and could have brought Grady Wright home from third. Ferranti, that was his 5th hit of the year on his 10th at-bat. So he keeps that average up at 500 on the year for himself. As Balducci gets one to fall in for a strike, and he's ahead in the count 1-2 now. Still one out here in the bottom of the 6th. The bases are loaded for the Pilots, as it's the DH, Phil Ferranti, at the plate. 1-2 count. In there for strike 3 as Ferranti gets caught looking. And so there's 2 gone now. A big out for Balducci.
Now batting out of Cheshire, Connecticut, number 7, third baseman, Andre Marchessault.
It's the third baseman, Andre Marchessault, who comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts to his name. Bases are still loaded for the Pilots after the strikeout from Balducci. This one misses outside for ball 1 on Marchessault. Balducci, he's appeared in 6 games for the Pioneers this year. Has pitched 11 innings of work as Marchessault fouls that one off for strike 1. Balducci has given up 18 hits and 11 earned runs. Both of those the highest on the team for the Pioneers. 1-1 count to Marcia Salt. Swung on, foul again, and so it's a 1-2 count as Balducci tries to get himself out of the jam here in the bottom of the 6th. The bases are loaded for the Pilots. They've gotten one back, but they would love to get a couple more. Balducci ahead in the count, 1-2 to Marcia Salt. The pitch swung on into right and into a gap, and it'll fall, and it brings home a run. Bailey will come around to score as well, and so the Pilots get 2 more back, and it's a 9-4 ball game. You could tell when that one went into the air, it was just into a awkward spot.
New York, number 28, catcher, Liam Harding.
As from here, you basically could draw a triangle and then just put the ball right in the middle of the triangle, and that's kind of where it fell. It's some geometry from me. Just trying to keep it interesting. So Marcia Salt picks up a pair of RBIs, and it's a 9-4 ball game now as it's the catcher Liam Harding back at the plate. Harding struck out his last time up. Stephen Edgett is down on third. Marcia Salt on first. Harding takes a cut and misses at that one, and so he's got a 1-1 count to himself. For Marcia Salt is his 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the year. Harding trying to bring in his first RBI of the year. He has 2 hits and 9 at-bats so far this year for the Pilots. 2-1 count to him. Swung on and fouled. That one just missed our camera here. Runs the count to 2-2 as there's 2 gone here in the bottom of the 6th. Pilots have gotten 3 back, and it's a 9-4 Pioneers lead now. Swung on by Harding and fouled up high into the air. Johnson watches it sail over the backstop, and so he'll retreat, and the count remains 2-2. If we really want to get critical with it here, the Pilots are technically up 4-3 in the game, but it is a 9-4 lead for the Pioneers. Harding able to foul this one off again, and so it keeps the count at 2-2. In case you're just joining us here, picking up a continuation of a rain delay back on June the 3rd, where the Pioneers were up 5-0 in this one after Mother Nature took over, and we had to postpone this one until today. It's a doubleheader as the 2nd game of this series kicks off at 7:05. 2-2 count to Harding. Balducci with the delivery, swung on, and that'll do it. So the Pilots strand 2, but get 3 back, and it's a 9-4 lead for the Pioneers as we head to the top of the 7th here at Colburn Park.
Now
It's a 9-4 ball game as we welcome you back to Colburn Park. It's Brandon Odenhall who takes over on the mound for the Pilots as Matt Seaman has 5 strong innings of work. He gave up 1 earned run as the Pioneers leading this one 9-4. Mason Williamson, the DH, will lead us off here in the top of the 7th as Liam Harding having a couple of equipment errors as he fixes those. Something to do with his helmet. As we mentioned, game 1 of 2 here in this doubleheader today at Colburn Park. It'll be game 2 at 7:05 Eastern Time. As a pair of teams in the Western Division trying to get on a roll. It's the Pioneers at 5-11 on the year. Pilots at 4-10. Swung on by Williamson, and he fouls this one up, but it'll stay fair. And Wright's able to make the catch for out number 1. Looked like that one was going to head towards the dugout, but it was able to stay fair. And Grady Wright, the first baseman, gets underneath it and makes the catch for out number 1 to start us off here at the top of the 7th. So after the fly out, the Pioneers head to the top of the order as it's Tommy Henderson. He was able to get a double his last time up as he is 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Henderson from Walnut Creek, California, plays at California. Looks at strike 1 there from Odenhall, and so it's a 1-1 count. Brandon Odenhall from Fenton, Missouri, plays at Maryville, is able to toss in strike 2 there, and so it's a 1-2 count to Henderson. Odenhall's 4th appearance of the year has pitched 2 1/3 innings and has given up 2 earned runs on 1 hit. Odenhall misses high with this one, and so the count goes even 2-2 with 1 gone here in the top of the 7th. It's the Pioneers up 9-4 in this one. They got 8 runs back at the top of the 1st, and the Pilots have been playing catch-up ever since. Off speeder swung on by Henderson into right. Underneath it to make the play is Walter, and so there's 2 gone. Walter taking over for Alan Murphy out there in right field. Is able to make the catch, and so there's quickly 2 retired for Odenhall here in the top of the 7th, and it's the left fielder Luke Stevenson who comes back to the plate. He's been able to reach twice on balls here today. And is hitless, but is able to get on base twice, as we mentioned. Odenhall trying to send him down in order here. The Pilots definitely not out of this one by any means, but would love to get another inning like we just saw where they were able to tack on 3 runs. Cut the Pioneers' lead to 5 as it's a 9-4 ball game. Stevenson swings and misses on that one, and so it's a 1-1 count. Odenhall with 2 strikeouts to his name in the 3 appearances we've seen. Off speeder misses in the dirt. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Stevenson. Swung on by Stevenson right to the first baseman, Grady Wright, and he makes the catch. And so it's a 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Odenhall. As he keeps the Pilots in this one, it's a 9-4 ball game. We stretch it out here at Colburn Park before we head to the bottom of the 7th. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV.
Now pitching for
It's a 9-4 ball game as we welcome you back to Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV. It's a new pitcher on the mound for the Pioneers, as it's Joey Myers making his first appearance of the year on the mound for Elmira, taking over for Balducci after he went 1 inning, replacing Mason Hazelwood, who had 11 strikeouts in this one, and put the Pioneers in position to win this one. They're up 9-4, heading to the bottom half of the 7th. Pilots, got 3 back in the bottom half of the 6th to cut the Elmira lead to 5. Pilots will lead us off in the top of the order. It's Justin Graham who comes to the plate.
Number 12, second baseman, Justin Graham.
Graham, a bit of a struggle for him tonight at the plate as he's 0 for 3, has struck out once. He looks at strike 1 from Myers. That one's in the dirt as Graham is able to hold off of it. And so the count goes to 1-1. Joey Myers from Mission Viejo, California, plays at UC Davis. As we mentioned, the first time we've seen him on the mound this year for the Pioneers. He also plays out in the field. This one fouled off into near the dugout of the Pioneers by Graham. Not being able to make a play on it is the third baseman, Tommy Henderson. And so he retreats, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Graham here to lead us off in the bottom half of the 7th. Able to hold off on that one is Graham, and so the count runs even at 2-2. Graham plays at St. John Fisher College from St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. Swings on this one, down to the second baseman, and able to make the play. Over to first is Conley, that was.
Now batting.
A lot of changes here in this infield for the Pioneers. It's Brendan Conley who's over at second now, and he's able to make the play over to first. So there's 1 retired here in the bottom half of the 7th. It's been quite the struggle trying to get things in line here, as after the rain delay, we picked it up. It was 5-0 the Pioneers in the top half of the first. And there's been changes to both sides since then. It's Xavier Warren back at the plate. Has an RBI on the day. Takes a big cut at that one. And so it's a 1-1 count to him. Myers ready to go with the 1-1. Off speeder misses low. And so the count is 2 balls and 1 strike now to Xavier Warren. Warren looks at one high from Myers. So he gets himself into a hitter's count at 3-1 as there's 1 gone now here in the bottom half of the 7th. Warren, as we mentioned, had 2 hits and 5 at-bats yesterday. And they lost to Utica, and he looks at ball 4 there from Myers. So he gets the free pass down to first.
Now batting, number 9, right fielder, James Walters.
James Walter come back to the plate after taking over for Alan Murphy in right field. He's 1 for 1 and came around to score his last time up. As we mentioned, he's been hot at the plate here in his first couple appearances with the Pilots. He has 5 hits and 10 at-bats. Johnson struggles to keep this one inside his glove, but he's able to corral it now. And the runner, Warren, stays down there at first. Swung on by Walter that time. He's not able to get solid wood on it, and so the count goes to 1-1. Warren down there at first after the 1-out walk from Joey Myers. This one misses low from Myers, and so it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Walters. Another one misses low from Myers, and it's a 3-1 count to Walters. With 1 gone here in the bottom half of the 7th. Pilots trail 9-4. 3-1 pitch here to Walters. Misses high, and it's back-to-back walks now from Joey Myers. As the runner, Xavier Warren, is able to advance to second.
Number 17, first baseman, Grady Wright.
Grady Wright picked himself an RBI double last time up. Also came around to score. Myers misses with that one inside. And as we mentioned, it's the first time Joey Myers has appeared on the mound for the Pioneers this year. So interesting to see what his command is like after he walks back-to-back walk batters. Wright misses with another one. This one's low. It's a 2-0 count to Grady Wright now. Warren's going to go down to third. The throw and the tag not in time. And Xavier Warren has himself a stolen base into third. And the runners are at the corners now for the Pilots. Good throw there by Tanner Johnson, but the tag was just a half a step behind as Tommy Anderson could not apply it. And so Warren is at third. Wright misses with that one high. And he gets his base as well. So in between that pitch when Warren stole, it was another ball. And Joey Myers has thrown 8 straight balls here. And the bases are loaded. With 1 gone here in the bottom of the 7th, a pivotal point in this game. This is 9-4 Pioneers. There's Dawson Bailey at the plate. Bailey takes a crack at this one and fouls it off. Bailey 0 for 3. He was able to reach on an error his last time up, along with Grady Wright. Came around to score. The Andre Marchessault hit to right that was able to fall in the gap as he picked up a pair of RBIs. Myers misses in the dirt, but Johnson's able to keep it in front of him. So it's a 1-1 count. It's Steven Edgett, the left fielder, taking over for Ricky Phillips, who is due up next for the Pilots. 1-1 count here. Swung on by Bailey and missed. Got a piece of it, but the count goes to 1-2. Big at-bat here for Dawson Bailey with the bases loaded. Joey Myers trying to record the second out of the inning. Here in the bottom of the 7th. Swung on and missed by Dawson Bailey. It's Bailey's 3rd strikeout of the afternoon and a big one for Joey Myers as there's 2 gone now and Steven Edgett comes to the plate.
Number 24, left fielder, Steven Edgett.
Steven Edgett from Webster, New York, was walked in his first plate appearance since taking over for Ricky Phillips. He sends one to right, high in the air, but it'll fall foul. Edgett takes a swing at the first pitch there and gets away with it as it's fouled off into the parking lot area. And so he comes back to the plate, and it's an 0-1 count. That one high as Johnson gets the glove up on it, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Xavier Warren over there at third as the bases are loaded. Myers ready with the 1-1. Swung on by Edgett, but it's foul as it caught the foot of Edgett. And so the count goes to 1-2. With 2 gone, bases loaded, bottom of the 7th, 9-4 Elmira lead here at Colburn Park. Myers ready with a delivery. Just misses outside with that one, and the count runs even. Myers ready with the 2-2. In the dirt, Edgett able to hold off on it? Yes, he is. Close call there by Steven Edgett, but it runs the count full. And a big payoff pitch coming up from Joey Myers with the bases loaded. Runners will get a head start here with 2 gone. Throw, oh, that one's very high. Gets by Johnson, and a run's going to come home to score as Warren was practically already home when that pitch came in.
Now batting out of Webster, New York, number 23.
And so Edgett gets walked for the second straight time, and the Pilots get another run home, and just like that, it's a 9-5 ball game here. And we mentioned earlier, this one definitely not over by any means. And the Pilots have gotten another one back, and the bases are still loaded as it's the DH Phil Ferranti who comes back to the plate. Did we establish it's Ferrante or Ferranti? Ferranti. 0-1 count here to Ferranti. Swings on this one. Back to the pitcher, Myers. He'll go down to first with it. And so the Pilots strand 3 and get 1 back. It's a 9-5 lead for the Pioneers now as we head to the top of the 8th here at Colburn Park. The right-hander, Brandon Odenhall, will continue on the mound for the Pilots as we head to the top of the 8th, as game 1 of our doubleheader is drawing to a close as it's the Pioneers up 9-5 in this one. 6 hits for Elmira, 7 hits for Elmira, and 4 for the Pilots. Odenhall misses with that one high to get us going, as it's Tanner Johnson, the catcher. Johnson 1 for 3 on the afternoon. He had a hit in his 3rd at-bat. As we've mentioned, a big game here for these two teams as Jamestown at 12-3 in the West Division, and the Red Wings at 7-9 from Geneva. And then Pioneers at 5-11, and the Pilots at 4-10. So Pilots do not want to get left in the dust here at the bottom of the division, as they're down 9-5 in this one, with 6 outs left to try and come back and make up those 4 runs. 1-1 count to Johnson. He grounds this one down to Warren at short. Warren makes the play over to first, and Wright is able to scoop it, and the leadoff man is retired here in the top half of the 8th. So after we saw Panzer at the plate, it's Colin Davis who takes over for him. It was William Perrin who was batting in the cleanup spot to begin the game.
Now batting, number 2, Colin Davis.
And now Colin Davis, who is out in right field now for Rossville, Georgia, plays at Wofford. He's at the plate for his first plate appearance of the afternoon. Swings on this one into center. Bailey's tracking it. Oh, what a play by Dawson Bailey, as he was stumbling after that one, but he got his glove up and was able to snag it. And so there's quickly 2 gone now here in the top of the 8th. Davis got good wood on that one, as it was in the bottom half of the strike zone, and he sent it hard to center, and Dawson Bailey tracking it and was able to make the play. And so with 2 gone, it's Anthony Nucerino who comes back to the plate. Nucerino was able to reach on a walk his last time up and came around to score. Also has a hit that was recorded after he laid down the bunt right in front of Liam Harding at home. Odenhall misses with the slider outside, and so it's a 1-1 count here to Nucerino. Odenhall ready for the windup here. Swung right down to Warren at short. He's able to make the play again. Over to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Odenhall in the top half of the 8th. Still 9-5 Pioneers lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th here at Colburn Park. It's the left-hander Jake Dippold from Syracuse, New York. Plays at Wofford, who takes over on the mound for the Pioneers. As we're set to play here in the bottom half of the 8th, it's Matt Serfolio who comes on to hit in place of Andre Marchessault. And he looks at strike 1 from Dippold. Pilots trying to put on the rally caps here in the bottom of the 8th as they trail 9-5 in this one. as Serfolio looks at 2 quick strikes and is quickly behind 0-2. Matt Serfolio from Indiana Springs, Alabama, takes a hard miss at that one, and he's quickly retired for the first out of the inning.
Out of Pembroke Pines, Florida, number 6, catcher, Alex Hernandez.
And so Alex Hernandez, the catcher, takes over for Liam Hernandez behind home plate as he comes up to hit now from Pembroke Plains, Florida. Takes a swing at the first pitch here as this one's fouled off. And he's quickly behind 0-1. Pembroke Pines, Florida. He plays at Southeastern. He looks at strike 2, and he's quickly behind 0-2. So 0-2 here in the dirt to Hernandez. As Hernandez is hitting .324 on the years. He has 12 hits and 37 at-bats. He's been able to drive in 9 runs, second on the team only to Alan Murphy. He strikes out as well, and so back-to-back strikeouts for Dippold here in the bottom of the 8th. The Pilots turn the order over now. Justin Graham, the second baseman here today for the Pilots, is 4 on the day. Dippold misses this one outside for ball 1. Here's a bunt down by Graham, the third baseline, foul. Dippold begins the 8th appearance of the year for the Pioneers here, has pitched 12 and 1/3 innings, has given up hits and 3 earned runs. 14 strikeouts for him, and his second on the team, only to Mason Hazelwood, who we saw put 11 here today. With 2 gone, it's a 1-1 count to Graham after the missed bunt. Graham fouls this one off, and Dippold's ahead of the count 1-2 now. We'll head to the top of the 9th. As game 1 begins to wrap up here at Colburn Park. Game 2, the doubleheader, set to begin at 7:05 Eastern Time, right here in Newark, New York. Pilots trailing by 4, 9-5 in this one. Graham able to foul that one off to stay alive, and the count remains even at 2-2. Dippold, the left hand, plays at Wofford. Looking for a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom half of the 8th. Pioneers did the majority of their work in the top of the first, getting 8 runs. As Dippold misses with this one inside on Graham, and so the count runs full. Graham trying to get aboard here with 2 gone. The payoff pitch. Swung on and fouled by Graham as he just fought that one off to stay alive. Seven hits for the Pioneers in this one. 4 for the Pilots. Another payoff is fouled off by Graham. Making Dippold work for that final out of the inning after he's easily able to send down Serfolio and Hernandez both down on strikes. Another 3-2 here. That one low, but it's going to be for strike 3. So Dippold retires the side with 3 straight strikeouts, and it's a 9-5 lead as we head to the top of the 9th here at Colburn Park. Top of the ninth here at Colburn Park. Dan Cooter here as we welcome you back in. 9-5 lead for Elmira. And it's Brendan Conley who will lead us off. The right-hander, Brandon Odenhall, is back on the mound for the Pilots. He's been strong in his first 2 innings of work, but Conley is going to send one into left, and that one will fall for a base hit. Stephen Edgett, the left fielder, is there to retrieve it, and so it's a leadoff single to get us going in the top of the ninth for Conley.
Number 8, first baseman, Trevor Henry.
Conley's second hit of the afternoon moves him to 2 and 5 on the day. Trevor Henneman, the first baseman, comes back to the plate. He had a sac fly for an RBI his last time up. Showing bunt all the way here is Henneman, and now Odenhall will back up and give his infield a chance to reset here as Serfolio knows what's coming here. Henneman showing bunt. Here's the throw down to second. There's no one there, though. And now it escapes as it went off the bag. And Conley is able to get into third. Conley took off for second. Hernandez with the throw, and there was no one there to catch it except for the base. And the base spit it back out. And so Conley gets down to third. It's a 1-0 count to Henneman. He will not be showing bunt anymore. Odenhall gets this one to fall in there for strike 1, and so it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Henneman. They're in the top half of the ninth. Pioneers up 9-5 in this one. In game 1 of 2 here at Colburn Park today in this doubleheader. Odenhall into the windup now. This one in the dirt. And Connolly's easily going to come home to score on the wild pitch.
Now batting, number 37, shortstop, Mason Rollman.
And Henneman gets himself down to first. So Rollman comes back up. So after Henneman goes around on that one for strike 3, he was able to get down to first as Hernandez couldn't corral the pitch from Odenhall. And the Pioneers extend their lead to 10-5 after Conley comes around to score. Odenhall gets strike 2 to fall on the outside part of the plate. And he's got Rollman in an 0-2 hole. Eight hits for the Pioneers here today in this one, 4 for the Pilots. And it's been 4 errors for Newark that has really kept them from coming back in this game. Odenhall with the pitch. Rollman fouls it off and stays alive. The count will remain at 0-2. Mason Rollman from Fairhaven, Michigan. Swings on this one and fouls it off and stays alive once again. There's still none gone here in the top of the ninth. Conley has come around to score. And the Pioneers now lead in this one 10-5. Henneman's down on first as Odenhall looks to record the first out of the inning. Breaking ball misses. And Henneman's going to get down to second. As the tag is not in time. That one escaped the grasps of Alex Hernandez. And Trevor Henneman takes advantage and gets himself into scoring position. 1-2 count now to Mason Rollman. Swing and a miss from Rollman. It's the second time he's struck out today. And there's one gone now.
Now batting, number 41, designated hitter, Mason Williamson.
Bottom of the order for the Pioneers, as it's the DH Williamson, with Henneman in there in scoring position at second. Swung on by Williamson down the third baseline to Cerfolio, but it's foul. That one close to staying fair for Matt Cerfolio down at third, but it just squeaks over the third baseline. And so it's strike one to Williamson. This one swung on down to shortstop Warren. Going to be a tough throw over to first. A one bouncer scooped by Wright, and he makes the play. Good effort by Xavier Warren, and Grady Wright doing his thing down at first. He's able to scoop that one out of the dirt and record the second out of the inning. And now we get a chat here. We try to decide if this was actually an out or not. If we only had instant replay, everything would be so much easier, but that's just not the case here at Colburn Park. So we do it the old-fashioned way with our eyes. And it will count as out number 2, and so Williamson is out. And top of the order is it's Tommy Henderson up, and he's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Henneman still over there at second with 2 gone, as Odenhall misses with ball 1 high. Odenhall ready with the 1-0 here. Swung on by Henderson deep into center field. Bailey tracking it, and he's able to make the catch. It's a 10-5 Pioneers lead. Pilots have one last gasp in them as we head to the bottom of the 9th here in Game 1 of the doubleheader at Colburn Park. Bottom of the 9th here at Colburn Park as I'm Dan Cooter. Welcome you back in. 10-5 Pioneers lead, and it's Dippold back on the mound, the left-hander who plays at Wofford, who will try to close this one out as it's Xavier Warren leading things off for the Pilots. Pilots' bats have been pretty cold in this one, only 4 hits for them. As Warren is 0 for 3 on the day. has picked up an RBI and was walked his last time up. 1-1 count to him as Dippold is ready to deliver. Can't catch the outside corner with that one. And so the count goes to 2-1. I'm sure Dippold liked that pitch, but it just didn't catch the corner. Swung on by Warren, and he's got himself a leadoff single as he hits it into left field. And the key to a ninth-inning comeback, get that leadoff man on, and they do.
Right fielder, James Walters.
And if the Pilots want one man to come back up to the plate, it's James Walters, as he has been hot since making his appearance a couple days ago with the Pilots, as he has a hit in this one and was walked his last time up. Walters holds off on that one, but he knows it was breaking in. And so it's strike one to him. Warren has himself a stolen base today as well. Not sure if he'll take off here or not, though, as every out counts, as they only have 3 left here. In the bottom of the 9th, trailing 10-5 are the Newark Pilots. Throw over to first. Did they get him? He dropped the ball, so good pickoff play there by Dippold. And so Warren, I'm sure, will be alert. Over there at first now. Walters swings on this one and fouls it off. And so it's a 1-2 count to James Walters. Is the left-hander Dippold looking for the first out of the inning. That's Xavier Warren down there at first for the Pilots, as he was able to get off a leadoff single. Another pickoff play here to first. Tricky there for Warren to read it, as Dippold, the left-hander, easier for him to pick it off over there at first. Still a 1-2 count to Walters. In there, Walters sends it into right field. Underneath it is Davis, and he's able to make the play for out number 1.
Now batting out of Fayetteville, Tennessee, number 17, first baseman, Grady Wright.
Grady Wright, the first baseman, strides back in for the Pilots now. Wright has an RBI on the day, as Xavier Warren is held up at first after the flyout from Walters. 1 gone now here in the bottom of the 9th. At 10-5, Elmira Pioneers lead. Dippold misses with that one high, and so it's ball 1 to Grady Wright. This one's in the dirt, as Wright's able to hold off of it again. And so 2 balls and 0 strikes to the Fayetteville, Tennessee resident. Grady Wright here plays at Lincoln Memorial. Swings on this one high in the air into foul territory. Henderson and Johnson are both tracking it, but it's going to fall into foul territory, and so neither one can make a play, and it's strike 1 to Grady Wright. Game 1 of our doubleheader will reset and join you back here at Colburn Park for a 7:05 first pitch for Game 2. Only 7 innings will play in that one, as that one catches the inside part of the plate. And it's a 2-2 count to Grady Wright. There's 1 gone, and Xavier Warren is over at first. Big pitch here coming up from Dippold. That one's high as Wright is able to lay off. And so the count runs full. It'll be Dawson Bailey due up next for the Pilots. Payoff pitch from Dippold. Taken by Wright inside for ball 4, and he gets the free pass. Warren moves himself into scoring position, and Dawson Bailey comes to the plate.
Out of Port of New York, number 11, center fielder, Dawson Bailey.
Bailey, a tough day at the plate for him. 3 strikeouts. And is 0 for 4. He was able to reach and come around to score once on an error. Bailey looks at strike 1. As there's 2 runners on now here in the bottom of the 9th. Pioneers still leading this one 10-5 with 1 gone. Dippold takes a peek over to Warren, and now the delivery. Bailey grounds it down to third. Henderson the play over to second. There's no throw to first. And so Bailey reaches on a fielder's choice as Grady Wright is thrown out at second. And the Pilots down to their final out here. Runners at the corners for Newark. As there's 2 gone, and Stephen Edgett is at the plate. Edgett, who has reached on walks his 2 plate appearances. Looks at ball 1 outside. Edgett plays at St. John Fisher College along with a couple other Pilots on this team. Gets in front of this one for strike 1 and then moves the count to 1-1. Dippold ready to deliver the 1-1. Swung on and missed by Edgett, and so it's a 1-2 count down to their final strike of the Pilots here in game 1 of the doubleheader. 10-5 lead for the Pioneers. Dippold trying to close it out. Swung on by Edgett, high into the air. Underneath it and able to make the play for the final out is Conley, and the Pioneers take it 10-5. So after a 5-0 start and the continuation of this one, the Pioneers go on to win 10-5 in game 1 here at Colburn Park. I'm Dan Cooter here on Newark Pilots TV as they'll take on the Pioneers here in game 2 of the doubleheader at 7:05 Eastern time, as we'll end the stream here and reset you here for game 2 in just a little bit. So we hope to see you as the Pioneers take game 1 10-5 here at Colburn Park. We'll be back here on Newark Pilots TV.